Hello, everybody, and my name is Jeffrey Davis. I am host of Radio Entrepreneurs and also chairman of the board, founder, CEO of MAGE LLC management consulting firm. And Radio Entrepreneurs continues to stream stories about entrepreneurship, the new economy, how people are working and providing value to this economy. Our next guest, a valued company of Radio Entrepreneurs, is Diana Perkins, advisory manager at Blum Shapiro. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So I got a whole book of notes on you. So why don't you tell us about your background and what you're doing at Blum Shapiro?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, I'm a manager within our CFO advisory practice here at Blum, where we focus on everything from business process outsourcing to back office digital finance transformation to business enterprise reviews, which is really my bread and butter, what I specialize in. Where we go into companies, typically mid-market companies, all different industries, and we provide recommendations on how those organizations can streamline their operations. Prior to joining Blum, my background's it's a bit diverse in how I got here. I started in my career as an auditor, so CPA by trade, both external and internal, and then moved into business process transformation, digital product technology management, and then I also had a stint as a professional options trader, and then before landing here at Blum in Consulting.
So I would assume that going to the business advisory side from the audit side, it's a whole different brain function. Is that correct?
It is. There are some similarities. It's project-based, it's client-focused, but right, it's much more fluid in consulting. Absolutely. So it's definitely a shift.
I was looking for a little bit more specific about the thought process that goes into both, for our listeners who are trying to understand what you do. Can you give us a little bit more insight into that?
Sure, absolutely. So in audit, I work both external and internal, and it's very structured, right? So there are audit programs that you follow, and it's not very fluid or creative, we'll say, and very accounting, strict guideline, focused. With consulting, it's very different because it's very concerned with a wide variety of our client needs across different industries, and really what we look to do with the business enterprise review, for example, is we go into companies and we look at their operations from the perspective of their key business drivers, which would be their people, their underlying business processes, their technology, and their data. And we really work to immerse ourselves in those businesses, understand where they are today, and then take that information, really assess what they're doing against industry best practices. And then we formulate that information into really a future state vision for the company and provide recommendations on how to improve those operations.
Are you usually brought in by the client, or are you brought in by, let's say, by the bank, by other accounting firms? I'm wondering how you tend to make your engagements.
Yeah, absolutely. So it does vary. I would say the vast majority of our clients come in through internal recommendations. So for those who aren't familiar with Blum Shapiro, we're the largest regional New England-based business advisory firm, and we're really heavy within our audit and tax practice as well. So oftentimes we'll have internal referrals, but it could be external referrals as well, or folks who are on our website. We have a lot of great content out there, so we'll gain customers that way. And even with our business enterprise review, oftentimes, as part of those recommendations, the organization's looking for someone to implement those recommendations. So we have that expertise as well.
Would you be willing to give us, without names of companies, a project that you've worked on that you think is interesting for our listeners?
Sure. That's a great question because they're all a little bit different and they're all very interesting. We have one particular client that we worked on recently that was looking to completely re-engineer their accounting and finance back office organization. And oftentimes with clients, we'll look at the operational piece, and then we also look at the finance organization. And with this particular client, we're looking mainly focused on the accounting and finance. But what was interesting is we interviewed leadership. They have 220 or so, businesses all over the country. So we're looking at from an operations perspective to the sales, obviously to the leadership, and really helping them evolve their accounting organization to best in class in their industry. And so with that, we did a really deep dive into staffing. We looked at their technology needs. It's like many companies, there are, many, toes in the water and with different technologies. So helping them prioritize that, looking at their data and how to leverage their information. And then ultimately, what processes do they currently have that they can streamline and automate to kind of feed into the staffing piece. So really interesting, and they did engage us to come in. We have some ex CFO or former CFOs within our practice to come in and actually implement those implementation or the recommendations as well. So that's what we're working on right now.
So is there a preferred way that you like to bill clients on things like this? Is it project-based, hourly-based? How does it all on an incentive-based? You see private firms that just specialize in efficiency systems, and I've interviewed a couple that work completely on the savings part. So I'm just wondering how you work.
Yeah. It really, it depends on the client. It can be time and materials based. Sometimes it's a fixed fee. So it's really something that we work closely with our client on upfront, very early on. But it can be fluid. Something else that we're really focusing on now, just in light of what's going on with the COVID and the evolving business landscape, is we're really helping our clients, as they have changing needs, whether it's different technology needs or the staffing that I mentioned, is to really help them understand what they can do today to evolve and adapt with the changing environment.
We've been speaking with Diana Perkins, advisory manager at Blum Shapiro. Diana, if someone was looking for you and wanted to know more about advisory services at Blum Shapiro, how would they find you?
Sure. The best way to reach me is directly through my email. It's dperkins@blumshapiro.com. Otherwise, we have a lot of information, or you can find me on our website, which is simply blumshapiro.com.
Thanks for being on the show today, and continued success.
Thank you so much for having me.
Remind everybody, this is Radio Entrepreneurs.